Today I'm sewing on a binding, and I'm just making a little tiny project just to demonstrate this technique. But I want to show you here how I sew the binding so that I get a perfectly mitered corner when I flip it over. I'm almost at a corner now. You see, this is the main piece, and now this is the binding, and I just have a few stitches to go. I'm going to sew right to 1/4 of an inch from the end. This particular foot has that marking on it. If yours does not, you can mark that with a pen or another kind of marker, however you want to do it. Now I'm going to turn the project 45 degrees and sew right out to the very corner of the main piece. That's just going to be about 3 stitches. I'm sewing it with a 1/4 inch seam, so that's not very much stitching at all. But as you see, it goes, I did my straight 1/4 of an inch and then 45 degrees right to the corner. Now you take the whole thing out of the machine altogether, clip the threads. The whole thing is free. So now you can do the next step. You're going to flip the binding back away from you. So now all the raw edges of the binding and the next seam you're going to make are lined up. There's a 45-degree angle here of the binding, and then I'm going to flip it back. That was made easy because I made those 3 stitches out to the corner. That was easy to do. Now I'm going to flip the binding back, raw edges even with the next line I'm going to sew. The fold is even with the raw edge of the last line that I sewed. These folds line up, so I know that I'm right on my 45 degrees, and that's going to be great. So I'm going to just drop a pin in there, and now I'm going to start sewing again. This time I'll start at the very top, right where that fold is. So I catch all of that in, and then I can sew this line of binding. I'm going to stop about here because I'm almost to the end and need to connect. So I'm going to stop about here and leave a big space for that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to make that connection so that nobody ever knows. Just going to sew about this far.